We're in the sand hills of North Carolina. This water is teeming with venomous snakes. Let's go for a swim. I got you, don't worry about it. Alright, right now I'm with an animal that most people would be afraid of, and rightfully so. This is the Copperhead. This is one of North Carolina's most common venomous snakes. Now, if you can notice, it's not a very big snake. It's probably one of maybe a year and a half to 2 years old, so it's probably not last year's baby, but the year before. If you notice though, he's still got the chartreuse green on his tail, which is a symbol that he's still a baby, and they use that for what's called caudal luring, which means he can use that tail and kind of wiggle it like this and lure frogs and toads and things of that nature that he would want to eat. Now, a lot of people think that all good snakes are dead snakes, and I think that that is the worst thing ever. Even this venomous snake, even though it could potentially cause you a lot of pain, and it could even kill somebody if it were to bite them in the right place, this snake is not that bad. God designed them in such a way that within their venom, within the enzymes of their venom, it can have the cures to things like cancer. So they've been doing research on copperhead snakes, and there's a drug that they've created called contortristatin that it'll encapsulate cancer cells, and it helps them to flush out of the body and things like breast cancer. It's really cool. Now, if we think about this as like a person, you know, Christians, most people that aren't Christians are kind of afraid of Christians because of what comes out of our mouth. So a lot of times what comes out, it's not love, it's not things that can cure or save people like the gospel of Jesus. It's usually condemnation and things that would seem venomous to someone that's not a believer, and it doesn't seem like it's coming out of a place of love. Now with this guy, if we look at him in the nature of God created all things in Genesis 1, and at the very end of the creation week, God said everything was very good. If we look at him in that aspect and think, instead of thinking of him as an evil or a bad animal, God created him and he's very good. Think about all the positive things that can come out of this animal. And just like you as a believer, think about, instead of being venomous to somebody, instead of, you know, somebody you disagree with, just completely writing them off and saying they're wrong and they're going to hell, try to love them. Try to love them into the kingdom. And yes, tell them the truth and tell them about sin, but walk with them. Walk with them. It says we need to be ambassadors of Christ, and we need to be Christ-like. And if you want to check me on that, read 1 Thessalonians. It says we just need to love them and walk with them and walk alongside of people. So with this snake, you know, he's good, he's venomous, and like the representation we've used before, if it's sin, we don't want to get too close to it because it can sink its fangs into us. But we're not going to do that. It's just a beautiful animal, and he's got such a great purpose, and he's very good. God created him in such a way that he's awesome. So we're just going to walk away and hope you learn something about an awesome snake. This guy out. This is a green tree frog, Hyla cinerea. Now look at him blending in completely with his background. Now I believe he was designed to fit in perfectly with his environment. Some people say he evolved this way, but I believe that God designed each and every animal to fit each specific niche. Isn't it great though? Look how beautiful this animal is. So he's out here tonight. He's been calling. This is a male, so it's breeding season. He's looking for a mate so that they can produce more offspring. And it's just a great thing. It's been kind of rainy tonight, so they're all out in force. You hear cricket frogs behind me. You hear all kinds of other frogs around us. It's just great, and we're getting eaten alive by mosquitoes. is a ground skink. And as the name implies, he stays pretty close to the ground. And full grown on this guy is only about 3 inches. So they just stay pretty close to the ground in the leaf litter. And they exist on small, soft-bodied invertebrates that live there, like termites, ants, crickets, things that are small enough for them to get in their mouth, basically. But they're just a really cool little lizard. They're kind of sporadic. Just kind of in their movements, herky-jerky. Check it out. Oh, this is so sweet. I've been looking for one of these for a while. This is a scarlet king snake. Or wait, is it a coral snake? Quick, what's the rhyme? Red on yellow, kill a fella, red on black, venom lack. What's this guy? What is he? Red on black, friend of Jack, or venom lack. That means he's not poisonous. He is a scarlet king snake, Lamprepeltis triangulum. Who knew I knew Latin? Not me. I can't speak it. But check it out. This is scarlet king snake. They live, this is pretty much max size. They'll get a tiny bit bigger. But it is a king snake, so that means he'll eat other snakes. He'll eat lizards, primarily is what he eats. And he likes to just kind of hang out and hide basically most of the day. Now if you've noticed, like I said, that little riddle in the beginning, he is a mimic snake. So that means that he looks like something else, but he's actually not. So he looks like a venomous coral snake, and he was designed to look like that. So things, typically in nature, if it's brightly colored, you know that it's poisonous or venomous or it can be harmful. Well, this guy is none of the above, but because he's got these colorations, that means things won't mess with him. So it's just a really cool thing that he's been designed to look like. So we're going to let him go, and we're going to go and see what else we can find. So when we release an animal like this, you never want to put him under and put the board back on him because you could crush him. So what you do is you put his house back, like we've talked about, and then you let him decide where he goes. So he'll crawl back under. Oh, whoa, dude, check him out. Oh, sweet. It's the patent leather beetle. It's about max size for this guy. He is just a beetle. He eats decaying wood, as you see from where we found him. He's living in a buffet. So he's just living and eating as he goes. Now these guys are invertebrates, which means they have no backbone. And it's like a lot of people that I know, you may know too, people that don't have the ability to stand up for Jesus because they haven't discovered that they have a backbone. They are a vertebrate and not an invertebrate. So I want us to remember that we are vertebrates, not like this beetle. We have backbones and we could stand up for Jesus. See, this beetle crawls around all the time. But we as believers in Christ should boldly proclaim his name and stand up with the backbone that he's created us with so that we can say to the world how amazing Jesus is and what he's done in our lives. And this beetle is just another testimony of how amazing his creation is. Check it out. What we have here is a cottonmouth. Now this snake is very venomous. This is the cottonmouth snake. It is also called a water moccasin. Now the Latin name is Echistrodon piscivorus, which means hook-tooth fish eater. Now like I said, this snake is very venomous. It produces a very painful bite, but he's good. Like I said, God said in Genesis 1, all things he created are very good, especially this snake. He's an aquatic predator, so he eats everything from frogs to fish to snakes to mammals. Pretty much anything he can get his hands on, he'll eat it. And I said hands. He don't have no hands. This is a cottonmouth snake. But now I'm just going to let him go. I just want to make a quick point and talk about how beautiful this snake is. If you look at his belly, look how pretty his belly is. He's such a pretty animal. If you look at his mouth, he's opening his mouth. That's one of his lines of defense. He'll gape his mouth, and that's where they get the name Cottonmouth. If you look in there, you can probably see those mean old nasty fangs, and that's what he uses to inject the venom. See, they have fangs, which are basically like hypodermic needles, so they can inject you with venom through their fangs. They're retractable, kind of like a cat's paw, a cat's claw, so to speak. But they're retractable and they can inject you with venom. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to release this animal just like we found him and let him go on his way to the creek, or to the swamp rather. What? No. Come on, man. It's not. No, come on. Seriously? This is a spadefoot toad and he's talking up a storm. And actually, storm's a good parallel for him because they come out during storms. They lay their eggs in the spring and summer after hard spring and summer rains. Now, they call him a spadefoot toad because he's got this little spade. He's designed with this little device on the back of his leg to where he can kind of dig holes. They dig tunnels and burrows, and that's where they live during the day usually. He's a really smooth-skinned toad, almost like a frog. But he is definitely a toad, and he's got the poison glands behind his eyes like most toads do. And he is just an awesome species. Alright, as you can see, I have a 6-line race runner lizard. It is a baby, and it's probably the only reason I was able to capture it. He's exhausted right now, and so am I from running him down. Now, he's called a race runner, and for good reason. These guys are so fast. Like, they're one of the fastest lizards I've ever seen. Every time I see them, usually, I'm spurred on to know that they're just going, like, they just go crazy, and they run this race to try to get away from me. It's the same thing like 1 Corinthians 9:24. Paul's talking about running the good race for faith. Like, he's talking about, you know, at the end, he's running for a prize. He's running for the prize of being in relationship with Jesus in heaven, and that's greater than any reward or award that we can get, because that is the greatest of all rewards, is having that gift of salvation from Jesus. So just like this lizard, he starts out as a little guy, and he's not quite as fast when he's little, but when he's big, he's almost unstoppable. Like, it would be really hard for me to catch him. And it's the same thing in our walk with faith. You know, when we start out small, we get discouraged because sometimes the enemy can pick us off and catch us and do certain things to get us off track a little bit. And it gets us exhausted, and then we almost give up sometimes. Just like this guy. Pretty much just gave up, and I was able to grab him. But as we grow in the faith, as we grow with our walk with Jesus, you know, we become faster and faster, so to speak, in this race of faith to completion, where we end the race victorious in Jesus Christ, and we have relationship and communion with Him for eternity. Isn't that awesome? Now we're going to put this guy down, and hopefully he's recouped a little bit, and we'll see if the 6-line race runner has enough energy to continue his race to get away from me. Whoa, check this guy out. Haha, this is a corn snake. This is one of the most common snakes down here. This is a big old corn snake, and it looks like she's going through a shed pretty soon. It's got some blisters somewhere, hibernated somewhere that may have been a little bit damp, but the first time she sheds, it'll come right off. This is just a beautiful snake, and it's a very, very common snake that we find all over the state, but especially in the sandhills. Probably not one I want to handle. God, you see him attack the stick? Check this guy out. This is a purse web spider. They build a web that's kind of like a purse, is the way it sounds, in a hole, and they'll stay in there. And he's kind of like the closest thing, or one of the closest things we have in North Carolina to a tarantula. Isn't he a cool spider? Now his fangs are huge compared to his body. His fangs look like they're a 1/16 of an inch, which his whole body's only about 3/4 of an inch. That's a big old set of fangs for this guy. And I'm not trying to taste them on my finger, because that's no good. Thanks for watching this episode of Catching Creation. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed making it. I'm extremely passionate about evangelism and animal conservation and education, as you can see through these films and episodes. If you'd like to partner with us and maybe donate or just drop us a line of encouragement, you can reach us at catchingcreation@yahoo.com. And I hope to see you again in the future on more episodes.